In the vast and ever-evolving universe of League of Legends, few figures captivate the imagination quite like Jax. This video embarks on a journey to uncover the enigmatic presence of a warrior whose lore is shrouded in mystery and intrigue. As we open this chapter, consider the boundless realms of Runeterra, a world where legends are born, conflicts unfold, and every champion carries with them a tale that both inspires and puzzles. Before we delve deeper, it is essential to set the stage and offer a glimpse into the atmosphere that permeates the lore of League of Legends. Imagine a landscape where myths and realities intertwine, where the actions of a single individual can tip the scales between order and chaos. In this realm, each champion is more than just a combatant. They are living symbols of the forces that govern their world, representing both hope and enigma. Jax, the character at the heart of our exploration, is no exception. His very existence challenges conventional narratives and invites us to question what lies beneath the surface of his formidable persona. The aura surrounding Jax is not merely defined by his prowess in battle or his distinctive style of combat. Rather, it is the mysterious blend of subtle hints and elusive references that form the core of his legend. Unlike many others whose backgrounds are laid bare in intricate detail, Jax's story is deliberately crafted to leave questions unanswered. This deliberate obscurity encourages speculation and debate among those who seek to understand not only who he is, but what he truly represents in a universe brimming with multifaceted lore. In this introduction, we invite you to consider the essence of mystery itself. What does it mean for a character to remain partly concealed in a narrative as rich as that of League of Legends? The intrigue lies not only in the figure of Jax, but also in the broader context that surrounds him. Runeterra is a tapestry woven from threads of ancient magic, enduring conflict, and secret alliances, a setting where the line between hero and legend is blurred. Here, every whispered tale and half-spoken legend adds a layer of depth, making the quest to understand Jax both a personal and collective endeavor. At its heart, this exploration is about more than just one character. It is an invitation to engage with the spirit of discovery that defines the community of League enthusiasts. The unknown aspects of Jax's past, his affiliations, and his motivations are like pieces of a grand puzzle scattered across the myriad stories that comprise Runeterra. As we move forward, we will gradually piece together these fragments to form a clearer picture. But for now, our focus is on the ambience of anticipation, a feeling that something monumental awaits discovery just beneath the surface of his well-worn mask. This prologue serves as the threshold to a narrative journey that will navigate through various dimensions of lore and legend. Without revealing too much too soon, it is important to note that every element within this tale has been deliberately designed to evoke curiosity. The mysterious aura surrounding Jax is a deliberate narrative device, a call to arms for those willing to explore the hidden depths of his story. It beckons viewers to set aside preconceived notions and prepare themselves for a series of revelations that will challenge conventional perspectives on identity and legacy. As you settle in for the story ahead, consider the vastness of the unknown and the allure of what remains concealed. The world of League of Legends is one where the most compelling mysteries often reside in the spaces between the known and the imagined. Here, legends are not static. They evolve, shift, and sometimes even defy explanation. Jax stands as a testament to that enduring mystery, a character whose legend is interwoven with both clarity and obscurity, inviting all who dare to explore to question, learn, and ultimately to be transformed by the journey. Let this prologue serve as a gentle introduction to a tale that promises to challenge your perceptions and ignite your curiosity. In the coming segments, we will begin to unravel the layers of complexity that define Jax, carefully dissecting the nuances of his character and the legacy he has forged in the shadows of Runeterra. For now, embrace the enigma, appreciate the mystique, and prepare to embark on an expedition into one of the most elusive narratives within the world of League of Legends. Across the realms of Runeterra, Several distinct groups and factions contribute to the rich tapestry surrounding Jax's story. Each entity, in its own way, has intersected with his legend, helping to shape the mystery that surrounds his presence. In this exploration, we encounter a variety of collectives whose roles, though diverse, share a common thread: the preservation of martial excellence, the safeguarding of traditions, and the careful chronicling of heroic deeds. One such group comprises the traditionalist warrior clans. These communities are built around the celebration of physical prowess and the mastery of combat. They value honor, discipline, and a deep-seated respect for the art of battle. Their legacy is often passed down through generations, and their rituals are filled with ancient customs that celebrate both victory and sacrifice. Though their practices differ from one region to another, they all share an unwavering dedication to the ideals of strength and resilience. Their influence provides an important counterpoint to modern interpretations of martial skill, setting the stage for figures like Jax, whose prowess echoes through their storied histories. A second faction consists of the academies and archives that chronicle the histories of combat and conflict. These institutions gather the fragmented tales of warriors, preserving oral traditions, scrolls, and relics that document the evolution of martial culture. Scholars within these halls are driven by a passion for uncovering lost knowledge and piecing together the narratives of heroes from long ago. Their work ensures that even those who walk a solitary path leave behind clues for future generations to decipher. In the context of Jax's saga, the diligent efforts of these historians have kept alive the faint impressions of his deeds, offering a scaffold upon which newer interpretations can be constructed. Alongside the warrior clans and academic repositories, secretive orders have operated in the shadows. These organizations are devoted to the meticulous observation of exceptional fighters and the events that shape the ongoing struggle between order and disorder. Members of these circles often work behind closed doors, gathering intelligence and preserving the hidden truths of their time. Their interest lies not in public acclaim, but in maintaining a record of individuals whose actions transcend the ordinary. Within this framework, Jax's exploits are noted with a particular emphasis on the hints of a deeper, unspoken narrative, a record of someone who defies simple categorization. Political powers and influential states also play a part in this unfolding tale. Rulers and their advisors often take note of champions who emerge on the battlefield, for such figures can sway the balance of power. While these political entities primarily focus on maintaining order and advancing their own strategic interests, they are invariably drawn to the exceptional abilities and mysterious origins of warriors like Jax. In their reports and decrees, the narrative of a lone fighter capable of challenging established hierarchies is both a cause for celebration and a potential source of concern. Their cautious acknowledgement of his skills underscores the delicate interplay between individual prowess and collective stability. Additionally, there exist wandering bands and mercenary groups whose lives are defined by the transient nature of battle. These itinerant fighters, unbound by rigid allegiances, thrive in the gray areas of conflict. Their encounters with prominent figures are sporadic and often accidental, yet their stories add an essential layer to the broader mosaic of martial legend. For those who traverse the chaotic landscapes of Runeterra, the appearance of a solitary warrior with unmatched skill is a rare event, one that reinforces the mystique of the lone fighter and the unpredictable nature of fate. Alongside these groups, regional collectives have developed their own interpretations of the warrior spirit. Whether in the rugged highlands or the bustling urban centers, local traditions celebrate the heroism of those who stand as paragons of combat. Their festivals, ballads, and commemorations often feature tales that have grown more elaborate with time. In such settings, the mention of a figure like Jax is woven into the cultural fabric, a reference point for the ideals of strength, resilience, and the pursuit of a legacy that defies easy explanation. Finally, there are the keepers of lore and myth, individuals who have dedicated their lives to collecting the intangible threads of fate and memory. These custodians of narrative are less concerned with the concrete details of battles fought and more with the essence of what makes a warrior unforgettable. Their accounts may blend fact with legend, yet they consistently capture the spirit of a champion whose impact resonates far beyond the battlefield. In doing so, they provide a vital perspective that bridges the gap between the historical record and the oral traditions passed down through countless generations. Together, these diverse groups form a network of witnesses and chroniclers whose roles are integral to understanding the layers of Jax's narrative. Each faction contributes a unique viewpoint, from the reverence of ancient customs to the analytical approach of historical scholars, and from the discreet observations of secret orders to the political assessments of ruling powers. In this intricate interplay, the story of a solitary fighter becomes not merely a tale of martial ability, but a reflection of the multifaceted world in which legends are born and sustained. The current state of affairs can be traced back to a series of events that gradually set the stage for an enduring mystery. In a world where shifting alliances and unforeseen upheavals leave lasting impressions, subtle currents began to form long before any single moment caught the attention of the many observers across the lands. A confluence of societal changes, internal strife, and the relentless march of time contributed to an atmosphere charged with anticipation and uncertainty. Over the course of years, small tremors in the established order coalesced into forces that would eventually redefine the landscape of power and tradition. In distant regions, cultural shifts emerged from deep-rooted traditions and long-held customs. Over time, these local practices, once considered immutable, began to reveal cracks as new ideas filtered in from beyond their borders. Rural communities, steeped in centuries-old rites, started to adopt practices that were once foreign. These changes, often sparked by the arrival of travelers, merchants, and wandering scholars, introduced concepts that redefined what was considered possible. Such alterations in the collective mindset slowly eroded the old guard's control, leaving open gaps that could be filled by individuals with a unique vision of combat and honor. Parallel to these internal transformations, external pressures amplified the ongoing evolution. Economic fluctuations and shifting trade routes altered regional dynamics, bringing new interactions between distant societies. The movement of goods and ideas across borders led to an unforeseen blending of traditions. Markets that once thrived on local produce and artisanal crafts found themselves overwhelmed by innovations from far-off lands. In this flux, established authorities found it increasingly difficult to maintain the status quo, and whispers of change began to resonate among those who felt disenfranchised by rigid structures. The spark of transformation, though quiet at first, grew steadily into a roar that questioned centuries-old practices. At the heart of these shifts lay a renewed appreciation for individual expression and a desire to challenge established dogmas. As communities began to cherish personal achievement and daring endeavors, the narrative of strength evolved. The focus shifted from collective adherence to tradition towards a celebration of singular feats and daring exploits. This cultural recalibration provided fertile ground for the emergence of figures whose actions defied conventional expectations. Over time, the spirit of innovation began to permeate every aspect of society, from the training grounds of local militias to the silent halls where history was recorded. A transformative energy was unleashed, driving individuals to seek out paths that diverged from the norm. This period of evolution was not marked by grand declarations or dramatic battles. Rather, it unfolded slowly through countless minor adjustments that accumulated over time. Rituals were subtly revised, and long-standing ceremonies took on new meanings. The past was continuously reinterpreted in the light of fresh perspectives, challenging the rigid definitions that had once bound communities together. The traditional concepts of heroism, valor, and duty were reimagined to accommodate emerging ideals. As more people began to question the established narrative, the groundwork was laid for a new chapter in the lore, a chapter where the lines between legend and reality blurred, leaving room for extraordinary individuals to redefine the art of combat and leadership. In the quieter corners of society, secret meetings and hushed conversations hinted at the potential for revolutionary change. While many adhered to established protocols, a growing number embraced the idea that progress required a departure from the past. These discreet gatherings, held in the shadows of ancient structures and under the cover of night, sowed the seeds of new theories about the nature of power and the essence of strength. The result was an undercurrent of innovation that slowly spread through the fabric of society. This environment, characterized by a delicate balance of tradition and novelty, set the stage for a figure whose approach to battle would later be viewed as both the continuation of old values and a bold departure from them. All these factors converged to create an environment ripe for transformation. The steady evolution of cultural norms, combined with the relentless push for innovation in both commerce and tradition, gradually dismantled the old order. As individuals began to forge new identities and reinterpret long-held beliefs, the world was left on the brink of a new era, one that would later be symbolized by a lone warrior whose actions encapsulated the spirit of change. It is within this context of gradual but persistent transformation that the origins of the current intrigue can be found. The events that preceded the emergence of this central figure were not defined by a single incident, but by an accumulation of influences that, together, formed a mosaic of change. The progression of events that ultimately solidified the figure's mysterious reputation can be seen as a series of distinct stages, each marking a transformation in the way his presence was perceived. Initially, the earliest accounts emerged quietly from remote training grounds and secluded arenas where martial skill was honed to perfection. In these early phases, scattered reports described a solitary fighter whose actions stirred both admiration and disbelief among local circles. These first whispers, passed from mouth to ear and inscribed in brief annals, hinted at a man whose exceptional ability was matched by an aura that defied ordinary explanation. The early stage was defined by secretive observations and modest tales that circulated among combat enthusiasts and those dedicated to preserving martial traditions. Following these modest beginnings, word of his exploits began to spread beyond the confines of localized regions. As encounters became more frequent, a pattern emerged from his intermittent appearances in varied locales. Witnesses reported fleeting moments when he demonstrated uncommon agility and strategic acumen, leaving his audience with impressions that resonated long after the encounter. Over time, his reputation grew through a network of itinerant storytellers whose narratives evolved with each retelling. This period was characterized by an intensification of curiosity and a gradual transformation from mere rumor into something approaching myth. The documentation of these events, though fragmented, laid the groundwork for a more cohesive understanding of his role in the broader narrative. As the flow of accounts continued, an era of more defined demonstrations unfolded. The warrior began to engage in challenges that, while not always spectacular in scale, carried an unmistakable message of personal excellence and defiance against conventional methods. These events took place against the backdrop of routine contests and spontaneous bouts, where his presence seemed to alter the dynamics of each confrontation. Each bout, regardless of the scale, added a new layer to the public perception of his capabilities. These episodes were meticulously noted by those present, with observers remarking on the balance between raw physical power and a tactical mind that rarely revealed its full measure. The progression during this period was marked by the accumulation of documented feats that, while seemingly isolated, contributed to an emerging composite image of a fighter whose motivations and origins remained shrouded in ambiguity. Gradually, the narrative began to shift as the character's actions started influencing broader arenas. Encounters that once appeared as isolated events took on a greater significance when they intersected with larger movements and regional shifts. This stage saw a series of strategically timed displays that coincided with moments of heightened tension across various centers of power. Although the exact circumstances that brought him into these larger events were not always clear, his timely interventions sparked debates about whether his actions were guided by a deeper purpose or a personal code that transcended conventional loyalties. These instances were marked by an increased frequency of recorded events, where even the most casual onlookers noted the uncanny synchronicity between his appearances and shifts in the wider conflict dynamics. The gradual accumulation of such incidents provided an evolving framework that further mystified his background, urging chroniclers to search for patterns in the seemingly random events. In subsequent developments, his influence began to permeate not only the immediate sphere of combat, but also the intellectual discussions of scholars and strategists. As the accounts of his feats circulated widely, a growing number of analysts and tacticians started drawing connections between his actions and the broader strategic currents of the times. His engagements were dissected in forums and gatherings, with many speculating that each move was part of a calculated sequence designed to challenge established hierarchies. This phase was marked by a systematic deconstruction of his methods and the context in which they occurred. Analysts attempted to correlate his intermittent appearances with specific fluctuations in regional power dynamics, striving to decode the underlying rationale behind his timing and choice of battles. This analytical phase added a new dimension to his evolving legend, making him not just a subject of martial lore, but also an enigma whose actions demanded deeper strategic analysis. The evolution of his public persona also witnessed moments where the cumulative impact of his actions led to significant turning points in the way local communities and broader societies responded to emerging conflicts. Even though the more dramatic shifts had been alluded to previously, the gradual progression during these stages played an essential role in setting the tone for later events. The persistent nature of his interventions and the subtlety with which he influenced outcomes gradually compelled regional leaders and influential figures to acknowledge his presence in official records. As more incidents were recorded and cross-referenced, the legacy of his journey evolved from that of a solitary combatant into a symbol of a new order in the realm of martial tradition. His actions, seen as harbingers of change by some and as reminders of past ideals by others, marked the culmination of a long series of encounters that had steadily built his reputation. Throughout these various phases, the progression from isolated, obscure events to a more coherent series of impactful encounters has defined the historical trajectory associated with his presence. Each stage built upon the previous one, contributing to an intricate timeline where individual feats and strategic interventions coalesced into a narrative that transcends simple categorization. The distinct phases of development, from the earliest murmurs in hidden training grounds, through the gradual spread of his reputation, to the increasingly strategic nature of his public actions, form the backbone of the unfolding saga. This continuum of events represents not just a chronological record, but also a dynamic interplay between personal valor and the broader evolution of martial ideals, shaping the context in which his legacy continues to be both celebrated and questioned. In a moment shrouded by tension and quiet resolve, a decision emerged that would forever alter the course of a solitary warrior's journey. This turning point unfolded in a setting far removed from the conventional arenas of conflict, a neutral ground where competing forces and divergent beliefs converged, creating an atmosphere charged with possibility. In that decisive instance, the warrior was presented with an ultimatum that encapsulated the essence of his internal struggle: remain within the confines of well-worn paths, or embrace a radical new direction that promised transformation at a personal and collective level. As word of an impending confrontation quietly spread among a select few who monitored the subtle shifts in the martial landscape, anticipation grew. The challenge, carefully arranged in a secluded venue known to those who longed for change, was not announced with bombast or fanfare. Instead, it emerged as a silent summons to confront the limits of one's own identity. In the midst of shifting loyalties and evolving expectations, the warrior faced a crossroads that demanded an unequivocal choice. His response, delivered in a moment of profound clarity, was to accept the challenge, an act that not only redefined his own destiny, but also signaled a break from the incremental progress that had long characterized his journey. The decision was not a spur-of-the-moment reaction. Rather, it was the culmination of a long internal debate and a deep-seated recognition that the familiar could no longer sustain the hunger for excellence and renewal. In that defining moment, the warrior's resolve manifested as a clear and deliberate choice: to step away from the comfort of routine and instead venture into uncharted territory. This act of embracing uncertainty was laden with significance, for it represented a conscious rejection of the predictable patterns that had governed his previous endeavors. The challenge was both a test of skill and a symbolic confrontation with the constraints of tradition, a test that demanded not only physical prowess, but also an unwavering commitment to a self-fashioned code of honor. As the decisive encounter began, a palpable shift took place in the air. Observers noted that the warrior's every gesture and movement exuded a quiet intensity, reflective of the gravity of his decision. His actions, measured and deliberate, conveyed an understanding that the stakes extended far beyond a single contest. They resonated with the notion that change, when willingly embraced, could ignite a broader metamorphosis. The confrontation, unfolding with a blend of calculated precision and raw determination, quickly became more than just an isolated battle. It evolved into a symbol of possibility. Here, in the midst of clashing ideologies and the ebb and flow of long-standing traditions, his choice acted as a beacon for those who, too, had felt confined by the weight of established expectations. In the heat of that critical moment, the warrior's determination shone through in every decisive action. Each movement was imbued with the understanding that by accepting this challenge, he was not merely engaging in a test of strength, but was actively redefining the narrative of his own existence. His decision to confront the unknown was a clear, unspoken statement that the path forward was one of continuous reinvention, a declaration that stagnation had no place in a life defined by relentless pursuit of personal evolution. As the encounter reached its zenith, the intensity of his performance made it evident that this was a turning point of immeasurable consequence, a juncture where the interplay between risk and reward was palpable and where the cost of inaction would have meant a life forever tethered to mediocrity. The impact of this pivotal decision extended beyond the immediate contest. In the wake of the encounter, a new chapter unfolded that altered the broader landscape of martial legacy. His choice to abandon the comfort of the familiar for the promise of transformation resonated deeply with observers and chroniclers alike. The decision symbolized the courage required to face the uncertainties of the future, a courage that inspired others to reconsider the limitations imposed by tradition. It was a moment when personal conviction intersected with the inexorable pull of progress, setting in motion a ripple effect that would be felt across the diverse communities invested in the art of combat. Reflecting on that singular event, one can see that its true significance lies not in the immediate outcomes, but in the long-term ramifications of a decision made in the spirit of renewal. The act of embracing change in such a decisive manner became a touchstone for understanding the nature of transformation itself. It demonstrated that the most profound shifts often originate from a solitary choice, a choice to defy convention and to strive for a state of perpetual evolution. In choosing to step into the unknown, the warrior redefined the boundaries of his own identity, forging a path that would continue to influence the narrative for generations to come. In the wake of a singular decision, an unmistakable shockwave reverberated throughout the realms, altering the immediate fabric of society and combat culture alike. The reverberations of this moment were not confined to isolated circles. Rather, they permeated the daily life of communities and political centers with surprising rapidity. Towns, fortresses, and academies all found themselves compelled to reassess long-held beliefs, about martial tradition and individual potential. The transformation was palpable as whispered conversations in bustling marketplaces and formal debates in council chambers alike began to echo with questions about the nature of power and change. At local levels, the effect was immediate. In regions known for their rigid adherence to established customs, the sudden display of a novel approach to combat and personal destiny disrupted the everyday order. People who had once revered tradition now found themselves at a crossroads, forced to consider a new paradigm that challenged the status quo. Traditional training grounds, once bastions of conventional techniques, experienced a surge in experimentation. The fresh perspective introduced by this event inspired a generation of fighters and instructors to embrace methods that diverged from the time-worn paths. In small villages and large cities alike, elders and youth debated the merits of preserving customary practices versus adopting innovative tactics that promised a more dynamic future. Political structures were not spared from this immediate influence. Government officials and regional authorities, who had long relied on predictable patterns of conflict and control, suddenly confronted a force that defied simple categorization. Strategic meetings were convened with an urgency rarely seen in times of peace, as leaders scrambled to interpret the implications of this development. Security protocols were revised and contingency plans adjusted, reflecting an acute awareness that established hierarchies could no longer operate on the assumption that change would follow a slow, methodical pace. The emergent phenomenon challenged preconceived notions of stability, prompting a wave of reforms intended to counterbalance the unpredictable nature of modern warfare. Scholars and archivists, too, were quick to feel the impact. Texts and records, once considered complete in their portrayal of martial evolution, now seemed insufficient. Historians revisited ancient manuscripts and oral histories, seeking parallels in past eras when similar breakthroughs had redefined the art of combat. Their research ignited fervent debates within academic circles as they argued whether the new approach signified a temporary aberration or the inception of a lasting shift. Universities and research centers saw an influx of students eager to study these developments, and courses once solely dedicated to traditional forms were expanded to include emerging techniques that had been catalyzed by the recent events. The immediate aftermath also manifested in the realm of public sentiment. Ordinary citizens, who had long been accustomed to clear delineations between heroism and routine, experienced a renewed sense of possibility. The appearance of a figure who embodied both strength and an unorthodox vision instilled hope in those who yearned for a break from stagnation. Public gatherings and informal assemblies became venues for spirited discussions about what the future held. The community at large began to view conflict not solely as a means of preserving order, but also as a crucible for innovation. This shift in perspective was reflected in the arts as well, with bards, painters, and sculptors drawing inspiration from the dramatic turn of events, producing works that captured both the excitement and the uncertainty of the moment. Within the martial community, the immediate changes were even more pronounced. Combat arenas, once reserved for routine contests, transformed into platforms for experimentation and public demonstration. Tournaments that had traditionally showcased standard fighting styles were now arenas for pioneering techniques and daring maneuvers. Fighters who had adhered strictly to conventional training methods began to integrate novel elements into their repertoire, spurred by the realization that adaptability and creativity could yield unprecedented advantages. In a way, the event served as a catalyst that challenged every participant to question the boundaries of their skills and to venture into uncharted territory. In the strategic realm, military tacticians and war councils found themselves grappling with the need to reconfigure battle plans. The unexpected manifestation of new combat philosophies disrupted established strategies, forcing commanders to reassess their assumptions about force deployment and battlefield management. Tactical manuals were rapidly rewritten and training regimens overhauled, as the immediate impact demanded a recalibration of both offense and defense. This reconfiguration was driven not only by a desire to counter potential threats, but also by an acknowledgement that the very nature of conflict had evolved. As plans were revised and new protocols implemented, it became clear that the influence of this transformative moment extended far beyond individual contests. It was reshaping the conduct of war itself. The ripple effects were also visible in the realm of alliances and interpersonal relationships among those dedicated to the martial arts. Long-standing rivalries gave way to a cautious curiosity, and erstwhile adversaries found common ground in the pursuit of understanding and mastering the new techniques. Even those who had once viewed each other with suspicion began to collaborate, recognizing that the challenges posed by this new era required a collective response. This spirit of cooperation fostered an environment where knowledge was shared more freely and where mentoring relationships blossomed, further accelerating the diffusion of innovative combat strategies across diverse groups. Ultimately, the immediate impact on the world following this critical juncture was both far-reaching and deeply transformative. The clear disruption of established norms sent shockwaves that permeated every level of society, from the smallest hamlets to the highest seats of power. It triggered a rapid re-evaluation of long-held traditions, inspiring a collective shift in how strength, skill, and innovation were perceived. As communities, political structures, scholarly institutions, and combat arenas all responded in their own unique ways, the world began to adapt to a new reality where the boundaries of possibility were redrawn. The legacy of this moment was thus etched into the annals of history as a turning point that redefined the immediate future of a realm already on the brink of profound transformation. Among the most captivating elements that spark discussion among fans is the extraordinary blend of technique and mystique that defines this warrior's style. His combat approach defies conventional categorization, merging unorthodox maneuvers with an almost poetic precision. Observers note that every swing of his weapon and every calculated step exudes both raw strength and a measured grace seldom seen in other champions. This unique methodology has fueled countless debates regarding its origins, whether it stems from ancient forgotten traditions or represents an innovative synthesis born of personal evolution. His style is often characterized by sudden, fluid transitions that seem to anticipate his opponent's moves, leading many to speculate about hidden training regimens and secret philosophies that have been meticulously refined over countless battles. The synergy between his physical prowess and the almost rhythmic cadence of his movements creates a spectacle that transcends typical martial performance, inviting both admiration and deep curiosity. Another aspect that ignites fan speculation is the elusive nature of his background. Despite numerous references in various tales and fragmented accounts, details of his past remain tantalizingly out of reach. This deliberate opacity has led to a rich tapestry of theories about his true identity and the origins of his combat mastery. Some enthusiasts argue that his techniques hint at an education under an arcane mentor whose identity is lost to time, while others propose that his journey involved encounters with obscure masters in remote, forgotten locales. The very mystery of his beginnings is woven into the fabric of his persona, creating an aura of both reverence and enigma. This uncertainty has become a fertile ground for community discussions, with fans piecing together subtle clues from his behavior, attire, and choice of weaponry. Every new detail that emerges, however slight, is meticulously analyzed and debated in forums and fan gatherings, ensuring that his origin remains one of the most engaging puzzles in the lore. Equally intriguing is the symbolism embedded in his gear and appearance, which many believe holds hidden meanings that speak to his personal code and legacy. His weapon, in particular, is not merely an instrument of war, but a storied artifact whose design carries layers of significance. Its form and function suggest an evolution of martial tradition, combining the weight of history with a design that speaks to forward-thinking innovation. Fans often discuss how every nick and mark on his blade might tell a story of past victories and failures, each one a silent witness to his relentless pursuit of excellence. Moreover, The subtle details in his armor and the way he carries himself evoke imagery of ancient warriors who were as much philosophers as they were fighters. This synthesis of form, function, and mysticism has become a focal point in fan art, cosplay, and detailed lore analyses as community members seek to decode the narrative embedded in every aspect of his appearance. The interplay between personal philosophy and the practical demands of combat also contributes to the character's singular appeal. Unlike many who are driven solely by a desire for conquest or survival, his actions seem to be guided by a deeper, almost existential commitment to the art of battle. This dedication is evident in the deliberate calm that surrounds him, a quiet confidence that suggests a life lived in pursuit of mastery rather than mere victory. His approach has inspired a movement among fans who see in his actions a call to re-examine the purpose of martial skill, not simply as a means of defeating an enemy, but as a form of self-expression and personal enlightenment. In discussions across various media, supporters often highlight how his choices in battle reflect a balance between intuition and discipline, leading to a broader conversation about the role of tradition in the modern age. This philosophical dimension enriches his character, transforming him into a symbol of both relentless progress and the enduring power of timeless principles. Finally, what truly sets him apart is the way his persona has become a living legend that continually challenges expectations and reinvents itself with each new appearance. His sporadic yet impactful interventions in the world of combat have left an indelible mark on both the battlefield and the collective imagination of the community. Stories circulate of moments when his presence has altered the course of events in subtle yet profound ways, creating ripples that are felt long after the encounter has ended. This unpredictable influence fuels ongoing debates about the nature of destiny and the possibility of individual agency in shaping the future. In fan discussions, he is often portrayed as a bridge between eras, a solitary figure whose existence calls into question the established order and inspires new ways of thinking about honor, strength, and resilience. Every new theory, every reinterpretation of his actions adds yet another layer to an ever-expanding mythos, ensuring that his legend remains one of the most dynamic and thought-provoking narratives in the community. In the intricate tapestry of this lore, several prominent figures stand out for their distinct qualities and personal philosophies, each providing a unique counterpoint to the mysterious warrior's own journey. One notable personality is a battle-hardened veteran whose reputation is built upon decades of relentless training and unwavering adherence to a time-honored code. This individual is revered for his exceptional discipline and mastery of traditional combat techniques. His approach to warfare is measured and deliberate, emphasizing consistency, endurance, and the preservation of ancient methods. His strength lies in his formidable physical capabilities and his strategic foresight in prolonged engagements, yet his rigid commitment to established customs can render him less responsive in rapidly changing circumstances. Despite his prowess, his inability to quickly adapt sometimes exposes him to unforeseen challenges, a vulnerability that both rivals and allies acknowledge. His interactions with the enigmatic warrior serve as a reminder that steadfast loyalty to tradition can both be a source of strength and a potential limitation when innovation is required. Another compelling figure is a visionary tactician whose ambition is to revolutionize the principles of combat. This strategist is known for a forward-thinking mindset that embraces experimental techniques and dynamic methods of warfare. His acute analytical skills allow him to dissect and predict enemy strategies with precision, often outmaneuvering opponents before the battle fully unfolds. He draws on a diverse array of influences, from ancient treatises on combat to modern advancements in training methodologies, to forge a hybrid approach that challenges conventional wisdom. However, his reliance on calculated planning sometimes leads to hesitation when swift, instinct-driven decisions are needed. This blend of brilliance and occasional overcaution makes him both a formidable force and a subject of scrutiny among peers. His interactions with the mysterious warrior, often spark debates on whether progress in martial arts requires a complete overhaul of tradition or can be achieved through incremental evolution, thereby enriching the ongoing discourse within the community. A third significant personality is a charismatic leader whose presence inspires loyalty and unwavering commitment among his followers. Known for a magnetic charm and a powerful sense of purpose, this figure has dedicated himself to unifying disparate groups under a common banner of resilience and honor. His leadership is defined by his ability to motivate individuals to push beyond their limits, fostering an environment where personal growth is as valued as collective success. His strength lies in his capacity to communicate a vision that transcends individual conflicts, rallying communities around shared ideals. Nonetheless, his reliance on personal magnetism occasionally blinds him to the complexities of conflict, and his drive to achieve grand objectives sometimes leads to strategic oversights. His frequent encounters with the enigmatic warrior create an interesting dynamic, as their differing approaches to leadership and combat highlight the tension between individual prowess and collective effort. This juxtaposition invites discussion on the merits of charismatic influence versus the power of solitary determination. Yet another influential personality in this expansive lore is a reclusive scholar, deeply immersed in the study of martial traditions and the evolution of combat. Esteemed for his vast repository of knowledge, this historian meticulously compiles and analyzes centuries-old texts, artifacts, and oral histories to construct a coherent narrative of martial evolution. His research delves into the philosophical underpinnings of combat, exploring themes of honor, sacrifice, and the nature of conflict itself. His intellectual rigor and methodical approach have earned him respect within academic circles, and his theories often challenge established interpretations of legendary battles and celebrated warriors. While his depth of understanding provides invaluable context, his tendency to remain detached from the immediate realities of combat sometimes limits his practical influence on current events. Nonetheless, his scholarly contributions have enriched the collective understanding of the mysterious warrior's place within a broader historical continuum, offering insights that bridge the gap between myth and reality. A further noteworthy figure is an audacious innovator whose background is steeped in experimentation and risk-taking. This individual is celebrated for his relentless drive to break boundaries and redefine what is possible on the battlefield. His methods are unconventional, blending elements of stealth, speed, and unanticipated tactics to disrupt traditional combat scenarios. His strengths are apparent in his capacity for rapid adaptation and his fearless willingness to confront overwhelming odds, qualities that have garnered both admiration and skepticism from his contemporaries. Yet, this same boldness occasionally leads him to overlook the subtleties of long-term strategy, resulting in isolated successes that are hard to sustain over prolonged campaigns. His frequent collaborations and clashes with the enigmatic warrior have sparked vibrant discussions among fans, as each encounter reveals contrasting perspectives on the balance between radical innovation and measured evolution in martial arts. Collectively, these personalities contribute to a multifaceted dialogue within the community, each embodying distinct aspects of leadership, strategy, and personal conviction. Their strengths and vulnerabilities provide a rich context for understanding not only their own legacies, but also the broader cultural and philosophical landscape in which the mysterious warrior operates. Their varied approaches, ranging from unwavering tradition to visionary reinvention, offer contrasting models of what it means to achieve mastery in combat. Through their interactions, debates, and occasional alliances, they help shape a narrative that is as much about the evolution of martial ideals as it is about individual destiny. This interplay of diverse qualities and aspirations forms a vibrant mosaic that continuously challenges and redefines the essence of strength, honor, and the relentless pursuit of excellence within the world of League of Legends. Unanswered questions and speculative theories form a core part of the enduring allure surrounding this solitary warrior. Over time, a multitude of intriguing ideas have emerged, each offering a different perspective on the enigma of his origins, motivations, and destiny. One of the most widely debated topics is the precise nature of his past, a past that remains tantalizingly incomplete. Various accounts hint at an existence steeped in mystery, yet details about his formative years continue to elude both scholars and fans. Some enthusiasts argue that fragments of ancient lore point to a secretive lineage with ties to forgotten traditions, while others propose that his background is deliberately obscured to challenge conventional narratives. The idea that he may have undergone rigorous, unorthodox training in hidden enclaves or even in exile has fueled many a discussion, leaving room for speculation about a life forged in isolation and shaped by relentless trials. Equally contentious is the question of his connection to mystical forces. There is a persistent theory that suggests his extraordinary abilities might be influenced by energies beyond the ordinary realm of martial prowess. Rumors circulate that his skills are not solely the product of human endeavor, but are augmented by an inexplicable synergy with ancient otherworldly currents. This notion raises further questions about the nature of his strength. Is it purely the result of years of discipline and combat experience, or does it hint at an affiliation with a cosmic power that defies conventional understanding? Such debates have led to the formation of divergent schools of thought, each interpreting subtle clues in his actions and the relics he bears as evidence of a deeper connection to forces that operate outside the limits of mortal comprehension. Another significant unresolved issue concerns his true allegiance and the principles that guide his decisions. While some interpretations suggest that his actions are driven by a personal quest for enlightenment and mastery, alternative theories propose that he serves as an agent of balance amid the chaotic interplay of competing factions. This duality has sparked lively debates about whether his interventions are random displays of individual brilliance or calculated maneuvers intended to disrupt established orders. Critics of the latter view contend that his sporadic appearances and seemingly impartial interventions indicate a commitment to an overarching philosophy of equilibrium, one that resists alignment with any single cause or ideology. Yet, the lack of concrete evidence leaves this matter open to endless reinterpretation, fueling further speculation about his ultimate purpose in the grand tapestry of conflict. The enigmatic symbolism woven into his choice of arms and attire also remains a fertile ground for inquiry. Every detail, from the design of his weapon to the subtle inscriptions on his armor, is scrutinized for hidden meanings. Some theorists maintain that these visual elements encode messages about his origins or hint at a long-lost tradition that he is destined to revive. Others believe that such symbols serve as a form of personal branding, carefully crafted to evoke both respect and curiosity among those who encounter him. The true significance of these elements continues to be a matter of conjecture, with no definitive explanation emerging despite numerous attempts to decode them. This ambiguity not only adds to his mystique, but also ensures that discussions about his aesthetic choices remain an ongoing and dynamic part of community lore. Debate also swirls around his apparent ability to influence the flow of events in critical moments. Some observers insist that his interventions are mere coincidences, isolated acts of valor without any underlying strategic design. In contrast, other commentators argue that these occurrences are too precisely timed to be accidental, suggesting instead that they are orchestrated parts of a grander plan. This view posits that every unexpected turn and every decisive maneuver is part of an intricate design, hinting at a larger role that he is meant to play in the shifting balance of power. The absence of clear evidence supporting either interpretation leaves room for a wide spectrum of theories, each as compelling as the next, and encourages enthusiasts to continuously re-examine the significance of his actions. Additionally, the question of his personal philosophy remains shrouded in ambiguity. While some accounts portray him as a pragmatic warrior solely concerned with the art of combat, others suggest that he harbors deeper, almost philosophical motivations that guide his every decision. This disparity has given rise to various hypotheses regarding his inner life. Is he driven by a relentless pursuit of perfection in his craft, or does he operate according to an internal moral compass that transcends the mere execution of battle tactics? The lack of explicit commentary on his beliefs has led to a profusion of interpretations, with every encounter and every cryptic remark serving as fodder for further speculation. Such unresolved aspects of his character ensure that debates remain vibrant and that each new piece of lore is eagerly dissected in search of clues to his true nature. Lastly, there is an ongoing discussion regarding the possible future trajectory of his legend. Some theorists are convinced that he is destined to become a pivotal figure in upcoming conflicts, an influential catalyst whose actions will shape the destiny of the realms. Others, however, speculate that his journey may culminate in a final transformative act that redefines not only his own narrative, but the very principles of combat and honor. The uncertainty of his future, combined with the multiplicity of theories about his past and present, creates a compelling tapestry of unresolved questions that continue to fuel dialogue and debate among fans. In every discussion, whether held in quiet corners of fan forums or at large gatherings of lore enthusiasts, his story remains a captivating puzzle, one that resists definitive interpretation and invites perpetual inquiry. The ripples generated by his enigmatic presence are poised to reshape the very fabric of this world over the long term, forging a legacy that may redefine not only the art of combat, but also the cultural and political dynamics of the realm. As time unfolds, his influence could lead to a profound metamorphosis in how warriors, leaders, and common folk perceive strength, honor, and the role of individual initiative in the grand narrative of conflict. One potential consequence is the gradual erosion of long-standing traditions that have dictated martial practices for generations. With his methods and decisions serving as a catalyst, there may be a shift toward a more fluid and adaptable combat philosophy that prizes innovation over strict adherence to ancient dogmas. This transformation might inspire a new generation of fighters who see in his actions the possibility of transcending limitations imposed by outdated conventions. Such a shift could result in the emergence of hybrid fighting styles that incorporate a wide array of techniques, leading to a renaissance of tactical creativity that revitalizes training practices and challenges established institutions. However, this evolution is not without its risks. As established orders waver, the uncertainty that accompanies rapid change might destabilize communities that rely on time-tested structures for guidance and unity. In the political arena, his influence could incite both progressive reforms and unforeseen upheavals. As his actions underscore the potency of individual agency, political leaders and power brokers may be forced to reconsider their strategies for maintaining control and legitimacy. This might manifest in the formation of new alliances that cross traditional boundaries, uniting disparate groups in a common quest for a future defined by innovation rather than by the rigid hierarchies of the past. At the same time, factions that are deeply invested in maintaining the status quo could view his legacy as a threat, potentially leading to internal conflicts and a reorganization of power dynamics. Such tensions may give rise to periods of instability, during which long-established loyalties are tested and new power structures are forged in the crucible of shifting allegiances. Culturally, the lasting impact of his enigmatic journey is likely to stimulate a re-evaluation of what constitutes heroism and valor. His story, with its blend of mystery, unconventional wisdom, and decisive action, could evolve into a symbol of personal transcendence that encourages individuals to look beyond the superficial trappings of traditional heroism. This evolving narrative might promote a broader cultural movement that values self-determination and the relentless pursuit of excellence over blind obedience to authority. In art, literature, and public discourse, his legacy could become a focal point for debates on the balance between individual ambition and the collective good, prompting communities to reimagine the archetype of a hero in a manner that resonates with the contemporary spirit of change. Over time, this could foster an environment in which personal innovation is celebrated and becomes a driving force in societal progress, even as it challenges established narratives. The transformative potential of his journey also extends to the realm of philosophy and ethics. His choices may prompt a long-term reassessment of the principles that govern the moral landscape of the universe. As observers and scholars scrutinize his actions, a debate may emerge about the interplay between destiny and free will, with his story serving as a case study in the power of choice to alter the course of history. This discourse could lead to the development of new ethical frameworks that incorporate the idea that the pursuit of individual excellence and the willingness to break from convention are not only compatible with, but essential to, the evolution of society. Such philosophical shifts may have wide-reaching implications, influencing everything from judicial systems and educational paradigms to the very notion of personal responsibility in the face of collective challenges. On a more personal level, his enduring mystery might continue to captivate the imaginations of those who have long sought answers to questions about legacy and the nature of greatness. Fans and lore enthusiasts, driven by the allure of his unsolved puzzles, may continue to unearth clues and develop theories that further enrich the narrative tapestry. This ongoing investigation will likely foster a vibrant, intergenerational dialogue, where each new interpretation contributes to a collective mythos that transcends individual accounts. In this way, his legacy may function as a living, evolving legend that adapts with the passage of time, continuously challenging and inspiring those who encounter it. The long-term consequences of his actions are likely to be a double-edged sword. On one hand, the innovative spirit he embodies could pave the way for a more dynamic and adaptable future, one where progress and creativity drive positive change across multiple facets of society. This could lead to a period of renaissance in both martial culture and social organization, marked by a flourishing of ideas and a renewed commitment to excellence in all endeavors. On the other hand, the rapid transformation he catalyzes might also engender unforeseen conflicts, as traditional power structures and cultural norms struggle to adjust to a new paradigm. The tension between old and new, stability and innovation, could result in periods of discord and uncertainty that challenge the resilience of communities unprepared for such profound shifts. Ultimately, the enduring significance of his journey lies in its capacity to provoke deep introspection about the nature of progress and the role of individual agency in shaping destiny. His legacy, steeped in both promise and peril, is set to influence the trajectory of the universe in ways that are as unpredictable as they are far-reaching. As the community continues to grapple with the implications of his actions, the narrative of his life will likely serve as a touchstone for future generations, a reminder that the path to greatness is often forged in the crucible of bold choices, and that every revolutionary act carries the potential to redefine the future for better or for worse.